What's up, guys? Justin here with TheSketchUpEssentials.com. So in today's video, we're going to talk about some of the top extensions for working with landscapes and sites inside of SketchUp. Let's go ahead and just jump into it. All right, so before we get started, a quick reminder that if you want more training on landscape and civil modeling in SketchUp, the Landscape Essentials course is available for lifetime access through end of the day, April 6th, next week. So this is my step-by-step training teaching you exactly how to create landscape and terrain models inside of SketchUp in a step-by-step way. So I really tried to take the process and simplify it and have something you could repeat across multiple different projects. So if you do want to take your landscape modeling to the next level, make sure you check that out at TheSketchUpEssentials.com/landscapes. Okay, so I wanted to start off with a couple honorable mentions. These are extensions that can definitely be used for landscape modeling, but they're not really close enough to the use case that I wanted to put them in the top 10. And so the first one is an extension from FredoTools called Tools on Surface. And by the way, I will link to all of these in the notes below this video. And so Tools on Surface contains a tool set for doing exactly what it sounds like. It's drawing on a surface. So it's got the ability to create things like circles and other shapes. So it's also got tools designed to let you do things like drawing on a surface like this. And so once you do that, you can actually draw edges and shapes. It also has a really cool offset tool for surfaces. You can actually do an offset on surface like this. The other honorable mention is another tool from FredoTools called Joint Push Pull. And so Joint Push Pull gives you the ability to push pull curved surfaces in SketchUp. So this can be really helpful for doing things like thickening ramps that aren't flat. So it's got a vector push-pull function that allows you to push-pull things up and down like this and give them thickness while maintaining that vertical orientation. These are great tools. They're contained inside of FredoTools' bundle of extensions, which I pretty much recommend to everyone. I will link to that in the notes down below. All right, so next up, we've got the built-in tool to SketchUp Pro, Sandbox Tools. And so what Sandbox Tools does is it contains a number of different tools for creating and working with surfaces. Everyone should generally know how to use Sandbox Tools because it's one of the most basic functions that we're going to utilize a lot. But basically it gives you the ability to do things like creating surfaces from contours. And so it'll come in here and it'll triangulate a surface based on contours that you have in here. So you can use it to create surfaces from those contours. You can also use it to do things like either draping shapes. So if I select a face right here and I drape it down below, it's going to drape it on this surface, and also stamp, meaning you can take a shape, stamp it onto a surface like this, and it'll take that shape and it'll generate a flat profile. And then you can set the sloping for that as well. So I'll link to a full tutorial about Sandbox Tools in the notes down below, but definitely something everyone should learn how to use. And so in addition, Sandbox Tools also has the Smoove tool, which is basically a terrain sculpting tool that allows you to come in here and edit terrains in a way where it has kind of a fall off. So it allows you to basically edit these terrains so that they have kind of an organic feel like terrain. So you can come in here and manually edit terrain using the Smoove tool. Okay, so next up we've got a free tool called Soap, Skin, and Bubble that you can download from the SketchUp extension warehouse. What this does is this will actually generate a surface across a closed shape, right? So you can use it to generate piles of things. You can also use it to fill in gaps or holes. This is the primary use case for this, at least for landscape modeling. And by the way, another honorable mention tool is a tool called Smart Path Select. So it's contained either inside of Profile Builder, or there's an older free extension called Sketch UV that has it as well. And so what it does is it basically allows you to find the shortest path along a surface like this. So instead of me having to come in here and manually select all of these, what I'm doing instead is I'm using Smart Path Select in order to select this perimeter. But then if I wanted to patch this gap, what I would do is I would use Soap, Skin, and Bubble like this. And you could adjust the divisions to whatever you want. I'm going to leave it at 10. But then when you hit the enter key, it's going to come in here and it's actually going to patch this in. Now you can also adjust things like the amount of pressure that's in here. So if you have this selected and you add additional pressure, so if I typed in 10 versus 5 versus 3, it's going to affect the way that this surface goes in here. So I use Soap, Skin, and Bubble on pretty much every landscape project. Okay, so next up, we've got a free extension from Fredo 6 inside of his FredoTools bundle that you can find on Sketchucation. I'll link to that in the notes down below. But basically what this does is it allows you to take a curve, and within that curve, what you can do is you can shear it upward. So this is very important for creating things like paths that need to go up a certain elevation. So this tool is called Curvishear inside of FredoTools, and you can select a curve, and then you can set the height of the curve, and then you can tell it if you want it to shear the curve up or not, right? So in this case, I can take this curve, and if you have multiple curves inside of this, you want to make sure that you right click on them and weld the edges. But then you can come in here, you can run Curvishear, and we're going to tell it to shear this up by 4 feet, right? So it works on multiple different curves. So let's say that I was to select these curves right here and run it, it's going to shear both of those. And so once you do that, a lot of the time what you want to do is you want to generate a surface on those. And there's a couple ways you could do this. Like for example, soap skin and bubble is definitely a possibility, right? You could use soap skin in order to generate this along the surface right here. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is you can also use Sandbox Tools. So you can just select these two edges and use Sandbox. And what Sandbox will do is it'll come in here and it'll generate a surface along that path right here. And then there's also a tool that I really love called Curviloft from Fredo 6. So it's also contained inside of Fredo 6's bundle. So if you're going to buy one of these extensions, you should just buy his bundle with most of his extensions in it, because we're going to have at least one more in this list. But what Curviloft does is it allows you to pick two curves like this, and then you can do a loft by spline. Well, within the loft by spline, this gives you the ability to control the geometry that's created in here. So you can set the number of segments that are created in here as well, and you can use this to generate that surface. The nice thing about that surface is because it has that supporting geometry that gets created as hidden geometry, if you decide you need to map a texture onto the surface later, it can follow the geometry that's created in order to make that texture actually follow along with the curve. So I like Curviloft, but really there's multiple different options for generating surfaces inside of SketchUp. Okay, so next up is an extension from TIG that I absolutely love. You can find this one for free in the Sketchucation plugin store. It's called Contour Maker. What Contour Maker does is it'll take a surface like this one. You can run Contour Maker and you can set a spacing, right? So in this case, I'm going to set it to be 2 feet right here, but you can set it to whatever you want, right? And this will work for any surface that's in a group. So say that we created a different surface like this using Sandbox Tools. But if we were to run it on this object right here, it's going to come in here and it's going to generate those contours, and it'll put them on their own tags. So you can toggle them on and off, but you can use this to pull contours from, you can use this to pull contours from location data or from terrains you've created and overlay them on plans. It's a super valuable tool. Okay, so next up is another extension contained inside of Fredo's bundle, because we already talked about how Sandbox Tools can create a surface, right? You can select contours and you can create a surface from those contours. The problem is though, if you look at the hidden geometry in here, what it's done is it's created all this like triangulated geometry. So you do have the surface, right? So it looks good from that standpoint, but everything looks kind of like pinched and it doesn't always give you a good mesh. So inside of Fredo's bundle, there's also a tool called Toposhaper. So what Toposhaper does is it will create your geometry in a different way. So if I run Toposhaper, what it's going to do is it's going to take the surface and recognize the contours, and then it's going to calculate the terrain using a quad grid. So it's going to add a grid in here, and then it's going to use quads to create the surface rather than triangles. And you can adjust things like the weight of the grid, right? So you could set this to either something higher. So I could bump this to like 100 by 94. Or something lower. So you could use this to create very a high level of detail or a lower level of detail if you don't need it and need to maintain your performance. But once you generate that terrain, what that's going to do is that's going to generate your surface using quads rather than tris. It's a much smoother surface than the one that's over here. So it's just another tool for creating meshes, but this generates better meshes inside of SketchUp. Okay, and so if you've ever applied materials to a complex surface like this one, you know that SketchUp isn't always the best at mapping the materials properly to the surface, right? You can get this kind of like nasty triangulated thing because it doesn't know how to map this on here. And so what we're going to do is there's a tool called ThruPaint. And I think you can get a perpetual license on this one for like $20. But basically what it is it's a tool for mapping materials to your surfaces in SketchUp. So when I run this, right, if I click on the Paint Faces option right here, what it's going to do is it's going to allow me to sample a material. And then I can place the material on the surface. And we can pick different UV modes on this to set the way this gets mapped. So in this case, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this bigger, but what this has done is this has basically mapped this across this surface right here. So not only can I resize it live, I can also rotate and scale the material on the surface live as well. So if you're mapping materials to complex surfaces like this one, I would generally use ThruPaint because it does a way better job. And there's multiple different ways that you can map textures to your surface as well. So if you don't like one, you can try another one too, but this will solve that broken texture issue. And so while we're taking a look at a surface, another tool that I find extremely valuable for scattering objects is a tool called Skatter. Okay, and so what Skatter does is it allows you to select a host, like this one, and then it allows you to select objects. So I'll bump this up maybe a little bit, maybe to 0.002. You see these red dots? This is basically where things would be scattered. Well, you can tell it, okay, take this object, and this object, and scatter them on these points like this, right? So it's randomly scattering objects on this surface. Well, if I click on generate, notice how it's going to place all of those on this surface. And it's cool because you can come in here and you can do things like scaling the objects up and down. You can also mask things as well. So we're going to take this and, for example, say that I painted on this surface. I can tell this to exclude objects in a certain area. So I can paint on here and be like, okay, don't put objects in this corner, right? And then if I click on generate, that's going to regenerate this, and notice how it excluded those objects everywhere that I was. So this is just a really great tool for scattering objects inside of SketchUp. Okay, so the other two I wanted to highlight just very quickly. I've talked about Shoot Plant Planner before. So this one is really cool because basically what it is Shoot Gardening is basically like a tool for managing your gardens and your plants, right? So they've got like a massive library of plants. So if you go into the plants and look at them, right? So if we pick like plants, for example, it's got all of these different plants in here. And so what it'll do is it has information about the species. It has information about how to take care of them, you know, what kind of like environment they do best in, that kind of thing. So it's a massive, massive library of plants. Well, now they have a SketchUp plugin that actually allows you to add those plants to your SketchUp models. So it has both 2D and 3D plant shapes. So you can actually set this up to put like 2D face me plants in here. And so basically what this does is it allows you to add plants from their library, and you can do it both in a 2D and a 3D way, right? So the 2D way is going to show like where the plants are. 3D, you can actually see where those plants are. So this gives you the ability to quickly place those plants inside of your model. So one thing I will say is it doesn't have a 35,000 image library, right? So what it means is you can pick a plant and you can put a 2D face me component in there, so you can select it from the library, but they're not all created for every single one of these plants, right? But it does allow you to place symbols and plants in here, and they actually correspond with your plant library. So if you're looking for something that actually lets you manage your plants that are going to go in your designs, this is actually a really cool one. It's definitely worth checking out. And I'll link to my video I did in depth on it in the notes down below. Okay, and then finally, this is a tool that I haven't really had a chance to do a whole lot with, but it has the potential to be the like craziest landscape modeling tool like anywhere. So Landshape is basically like Sandbox Tools, but so much better. There's not even any comparison. Like it has so many tools contained inside of it to help you work with your terrains. So it has tools for creating things in 2D and then interacting them with your terrains live. So it has tools built in for terrain modeling, as well as like scattering objects on surfaces. So it's kind of a one-stop shop for your landscape modeling. It allows you to do amazing things like drawing a curve and then saying, okay, based on this curve, I want you to add a road to the terrain. So super, super powerful tool. Definitely in depth, but they've also managed to capture, I don't even know how to describe it, like the way that this tool kind of works, the way that the tools work. It feels a little bit more user friendly, even though it's built on top of SketchUp. So definitely super cool. I will link to Landshape in the notes down below. This is something I want to talk more about in the future, but this has like a massive potential to change the way landscapes and terrains are created inside of SketchUp. All right, so leave a comment below. Let me know if I left anything out. I just love having that conversation with you guys. If you do want some in-depth landscape training and learn how to use this whole process, make sure you check out my course at TheSketchUpEssentials.com/landscapes. That's available for lifetime access through Monday at 11:59 p.m. But for now, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks, guys.